Hare Krishna, everyone. We'll just start in a minute. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति सुपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं प्रजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी शुभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय वेदांत स्वामी नाम सारस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष पाश्चात्य वाचालम पंगुम लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतरनं परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम हरि ओम हरे कृष्ण सो वेलकम टू द डिस्कशन the continual discussion of Sri Chaitanya Pravaha, which is the summary study of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Actually, even though I call it summary study, actually I'm going into a fair bit of detail, not doing a quick chapter summary. Chaitanya Charitamrita, generally in most verses, the purports are very brief, except for those which are actually philosophical conversations. In most places, the purports are brief. So actually, we are going into a fair amount of detail. At least as far as the verses are concerned, we are practically covering almost all. In very in certain sections, they're just rushing through probably a few verses, touching them quickly, but uh, we are currently doing much more detail than what I originally anticipated. Well, it's good. It's purifying. We don't know when again we'll get a chance to discuss. So it's very wonderful. Uh, I love both hearing and discussing pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. They are especially uh, nourishing to the sadhakas because they exemplify the ideal culture of Krishna consciousness. This is very important. If we simply adopt the external practices of Krishna consciousness, but do not imbibe the values and the culture that comes along with it, then we will be very lopsided. We will not be able to actually become a well rounded devotee and we will struggle. So, Vaishnav behavior, Vaishnav etiquette, the right values, the right qualities, the right kind of interactions that devotees are expected to have with devotees, people in general, non devotees, envious people. All these things we understand in great detail from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Of course, the Bhagavad also explains to some degree, but the Chaitanya Charitamrita is even more elaborate. where the heart of the devotee is revealed very much more clearly. And by the grace of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, we get a glimpse of the heart of Lord Chaitanya, how he thinks, how he values the devotees, how the devotees look at each other, how they love and value each other, their mood of compassion, their mood of tolerance, their mood of sacrifice. All these are very wonderfully and in a great detail revealed through the pages of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we are discussing currently the 11th chapter of the Madhya Lila, which is entitled the Beda Kirtan Pastimes. Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is already in Puri. He has completed his South India tour. He has come back to Puri. He settled through the arrangements of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya with the help of the king in the house of Kashi Mishra. So many devotees from so many of the eternal associates of the Lord, devotees, come to Puri and join him in his pastimes. All that we have already discussed. And then we began discussing this beautiful episode of the struggle of King Pratap Rudra, who's a great devotee of the Lord. But because he is a king, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused an interview. He was so keen. And he was, practically chasing and pestering his royal guru, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Please arrange a interview, a meeting with Lord Chaitanya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tried, but Lord Chaitanya was like strictly no, no, no. If you again push me for this, I will leave Puri altogether. None of you will see me. So they were all. But as we discussed over time, when Lord Chaitanya was not only pleaded to the case of King Pratap Rudra by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who's very dear to him, but also later Ramanand Rai comes and joins Lord Chaitanya in Puri. And he starts glorifying the king that, actually, I wanted to retire. And my boss, the king, because I was the governor, I told him I want to resign. He asked me, why you want to resign? You have such good salary, you're doing such a good job. That I'm resigning because I want to engage full time in the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The king was so excited and happy. Oh, you are achieving the perfection that I could not achieve. So you are immediately relieved from the job. And not only that, you will get pension equal to your full salary for the rest of your life. So no need to worry. So this is a very good retirement program. For that, you need a boss like Maharaj Pratap Rudra. And also you need the determination to fully engage in the service of Lord Chaitanya. So he came and he glorified, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart was softened. So whenever a devotee, Prabhupada says, right, quotes this verse, and we briefly discussed this the last time. He who says he is my devotee is not my devotee, but he who is the devotee of my devotee is my devotee. So if you want to make the heart of the Lord soft towards us, you cannot actually impress the Lord by great knowledge, austerity, big seva. Of course, all these things will help us to advance slowly. If you really want to attract the Lord's attention very fast, it's by rendering some service and pleasing and helping those who are very dear to the Lord. So that is the secret. So Lord Chaitanya's heart is softened, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also notices this. That the hard stance of Lord Chaitanya towards the king. No, I will never see a materialistic person. Somehow he developed some positive attitude. Of course, the Lord internally knows everything, but in his Lila, he developed a little positive attitude towards the king, that he started appreciating and accepting that he's a great devotee and he's a servant of my servants. So that is why recommendation by great souls is very important. So his case was recommended by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and then by Ramanand Rai. So we also discussed how at a later point Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya suggests to Maharaj Prataparudra, actually it is very difficult, but you are so dear to the Lord, I am sure the Lord will give you his mercy. So I have a suggestion that during the Rath Yatra time when the Lord goes to take rest in the garden, dress yourself as a mendicant, not as a king, because the Lord will not want to see a king. Dress as a mendicant, approach the Lord very humbly and sing the 5 chapters of the Ras Lila. And when Lord Chaitanya will hear those beautiful verses which are very, very dear to Lord Chaitanya, and especially sung by you with pure devotion, the Lord will be very, very kind to you and affectionate to you without fail. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also gave him the plan how to achieve what he wants to achieve. So the devotees are always very intelligent. They want to make sure that the Lord's instructions are also taken care of, and at the same time, mercy is also given to deserving candidates. So those who are advanced souls, they know how to balance all this in a very smart way. Anyway, so that was the instruction given, and then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked, so actually, King asked Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So by the way, when is Snan Yatra? You are talking about, going and approaching Lord Chaitanya during the Rath Yatra, but when is Snan Yatra? And Bhattacharya said, just 3 days away, Snan Yatra, and after that the Lord will be for 2 weeks in Anavasar, and then there'll be the Rath Yatra. So, if you follow what I have advised you, very soon you can potentially get the opportunity where the Lord will accept. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya encouraged. So this is the duty of a preacher. The duty of a preacher is sometimes, even when individuals may feel hopeless, individuals may feel very lowly, individuals may feel that they are too far away from Krishna, too far away from Guru, that they encourage and help them to come closer to Guru and Krishna. And that is Radharani's nature also. Even though Radharani is most dear to Krishna, most close to Krishna, she always wants to push everyone else closer to the Lord. And that is why she is so dear to the Lord. So finally, the day of Snan Yatra came. And Lord Chaitanya was very, very happy on that particular. He said Lord Chaitanya witnessed and the Snan Yatra ceremony. And he was very, very happy. But after Snan Yatra, Lord Chaitanya became suddenly very morose. Why? Because no darshan of Lord Jagannath. And Jagannath every year becomes sick after the Snan Yatra. So much bathing. So this time is taken by the pujaris to, take care of the Lord like he's sick, give him medications, give him diet fit for sick people, and also his transcendental Daru Brahman form is painted and the things are done. So Lord Chaitanya in this period would feel intense separation in the mood of the gopis. Like the gopis would feel separation from Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt that kind of a separation for Krishna when Jagannath would be in the Anavasar. And it would become so intolerable for Lord Chaitanya because every day, perhaps multiple times, Lord Chaitanya would come and take darshan of Lord Jagannath. That during this period, the Lord could practically not tolerate being Puri. So he would go to Alarnath. So Alarnath, which is not very far from Jagannath Puri, where there is also a very beautiful temple of Krishna who manifested the form of Narayan. So I'll not go into the details of that. You can read up. We have discussed this earlier also. So Lord Chaitanya went there. So when Lord Chaitanya would go there, because he's missing Jagannath, the devotees would be in separation because they would miss Lord Chaitanya. So when Lord Chaitanya would go to Alarnath, devotees would be in anxiety. Arey, now we are going to miss the association. So some devotees still followed Lord Chaitanya. Those who were able to, because of their situation, to follow Lord Chaitanya, they went with him to Alarnath. At the same time, devotees, because Lord Chaitanya had instructed the devotees from Bengal, if you remember, he had instructed every year at the time of Rath Yatra, you all should come and meet me in Puri. Right? That was the instruction which Lord Chaitanya had given to all his close associates in Bengal. So many great devotees. So there was a group of devotees who was always in Puri, and there was a group of devotees, a few hundred devotees, prominent devotees who were in Bengal, would regularly come and spend 3-4 months, including Rath Yatra. So that was their yearly yatra, and it was not like a 1 week off. It was 2-3 months they would be there, stay in Puri, associate with Lord Chaitanya. So the devotees who went to Alarnath with Lord Chaitanya, they told Lord Chaitanya, "Oh Lord, we should go back to Puri quickly." Actually, they were very concerned also for the devotees in Puri who were feeling a lot of separation from Lord Jagannath, from Lord Chaitanya. So they said, let us go back, oh Lord. Now very soon the devotees from Bengal are going to come to Purushottam Kshetra. Huh? And Lord said, oh yeah, they are all going to come. So I have to be in Puri. Yes, let us go. So Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya and others, they all made sure that Lord Chaitanya came back. So in the meanwhile, King Prataparudra was also in great anxiety. Lord Chaitanya left and he went to Alarnath. So Prataparudra was waiting in anxiety, and Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya came to King Prataparudra and told him, no, I have brought Lord Chaitanya back and I've come to inform you that he has come back. At the same time, as he was having this conversation, Gopinath Acharya, who is the brother-in-law of Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, he also came there uh, in front of the king. King and Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya were having this conversation. The king offered his obeisance because Gopinath Acharya is a Brahman, and Nath Acharya being an elderly Brahmana, he was around the same age as Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, an elderly Brahmana. He gave him his blessings. And Gopinath Acharya announced the king, "O king, around 200 devotees are coming from Bengal, and they are not ordinary devotees. They're not the general temple crowd. They are great devotees, associates of Lord Chaitanya, very advanced and very devoted. They have given up their life for Lord Chaitanya. And they have arrived. They are just, on the bank of the lake Narendra Sarovar." From those who have gone to Puri, how many of you are familiar with Narendra Sarovar? You can raise your hands. So Narendra Sarovar, if you go along the Grand Road of Puri, the Sarovar, you have to go a little distance, even beyond Gundicha temple, you go further down. On the left-hand side, you will see Narendra Sarovar. It's a very beautiful, huge lake. It's used nowadays for the service of the Lord, to take, the Lord's Utsav Murtis on a boat ride. But in those days, in Narendra Sarovar, on the bank of the Narendra Sarovar, the devotees would come. In fact, they would even come there, bathe there. Lord Chaitanya and all the devotees would bathe. So those pastimes also we'll discuss shortly. Narendra Sarovar is a very special place. So we were very fortunate. We have also taken bath Narendra Sarovar. So Gopinath Acharya announces that the devotees have come, very advanced souls. They are just stationed right now on the bank of Narendra Sarovar, and they are waiting there. So we need to make arrangements. They are our guests. So we need to make arrangements for them. So, O King, please help me to make arrangements for residential quarters for them, and we also need to arrange prasad for them. So the king said, yes, these are all great Vaishnavas, and I will, don't worry, all arrangements for them to stay comfortably whenever they are here, and the prasadam, whatever you desire, O Gopinath Acharya, all arrangements will be made. So he was very eager to serve these devotees. But more than that, he was very eager. He told Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, all these must be very great personal associates of Lord Chaitanya. Can you please show me who is who? I am so eager This must be such great persons, very close personal associates of Lord Chaitanya. Can you show me? So Sarvam Bhattacharya said, yes, my lord. Yeah, I have met them whenever they have visited earlier. So I can tell you who's who. So come, let us go on the terrace of your palace. So Sarvam Bhattacharya and the king uh, went to the top of the terrace. So king says, no, actually, I don't know any one of them. You will tell me, no, who's who. He says, no, don't worry. I will introduce you. So as the king and Sarvam Bhattacharya came on the top of the palace, the devotees, this 200 devotees, they came closer to the palace. Closer just enough that the king could see them clearly. And Sarvam Bhattacharya was able to identify and say, he's he. So something very beautiful was happening uh, as King and Sarvam Bhattacharya were watching from the top of the terrace of the king's palace. So Lord Chaitanya, when he himself came to know that these 200 devotees have come and they are, like just entered Puri. So Narendra Sarovar is still a little distance away from Jagannath temple. So Lord Chaitanya had arranged for a grand welcome of these 200 devotees. And he had arranged for a very beautiful welcome. He wanted to welcome each devotee with flower garlands, with chandan, with Jagannath's prasad as they entered into Puri. So, so it's done, in a very, very, and the king and Sarvam Bhattacharya got to witness this very, very unique way in which Lord Chaitanya, you can almost say, not just welcomed, but greeted and worshipped all the devotees. In fact, Lord Chaitanya had arranged through two devotees, Swarup Damodar and Govinda. They were carrying these garlands with them and some prasadam of Lord Jagannath. And they were walking towards this gathering of these 200 devotees. So the king inquired, he saw these two devotees with garland going, who are these two? Please tell me. Oh, Sarvamata said, these are our local Sarup Damodar Goswami and Govinda. Sarup Damodar Goswami, he's such an extraordinary person. He's practically like the second expansion of Lord Chaitanya. He's serving him as his personal secretary. He's practically an expansion. He's so close to Lord Chaitanya. And Govinda is the personal servant of Lord Chaitanya. He was at one time the personal servant of Ishwarapuri, the guru of Lord Chaitanya and Govinda. Now, based on the instructions of his guru, Govinda is now engaged in the service of Lord Chaitanya. So Sarup Damodar and Govinda first, and this is how the narration goes on. Sarup Damodar came forward first and he offered a garland. The first garland went around the neck of, can anyone guess? Around whose neck the first garland went? Huh? The first garland will usually go to the senior-most person, right? So who's the senior-most devotee from Bengal?
Advaita, Prabhu.
Yeah, very good. Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya was the leader. See, please remember, Lord Nityananda is, and other devotees were already in with Lord Chaitanya. Of course, at a later time, Lord Chaitanya sent Nityananda Prabhu back, but that's a different story. But Advaita is the eldest, senior most. He was always the leader of the Vaishnavas, even in Bengal. Even when Lord Chaitanya was a small boy in his Lila, Advaita was the leader of all the Vaishnavas. Sarup Damodar garlanded Advaita. And after Sarup Damodar garlanded, even Govinda came and garlanded. It was very, very extraordinary. Remember, right? Lord in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said there is one Mahaprabhu. and there are two Prabhus, one great Lord and two Lords. The great Lord is Lord Chaitanya, and the two Lords are Advaita and Nityananda. So Advaita was garlanded, and Govinda offered full prostrated obeisances in front of Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya, of course, knew Sarup Damodar, but he asked, he didn't know who's Govinda. He asked, oh, who's this personality? Oh, this Govinda, he was the servant of Ishwarapuri. He's very, very great devotee, and he has been instructed. So Lord Chaitanya is now always by the side of Lord Chaitanya. Then Gopinath Acharya, who was also with King Pratap Rudra, he was telling, oh, this person is Advaita Acharya. He is so great, he is so great. Even Lord Chaitanya worships him. That's why he's considered the topmost devotee. And you see there, along with him, that is Shrivas Pandit, that is Vakreshwar Pandit, this is Vidyanidhi Acharya, this is the great Gadadhar Pandit, the incarnation of Radharani. And then he went on naming the devotees. Acharya, he was pointing to each individual, perhaps as they were being garlanded. Correct? So sometimes you see, right, that is like a, every time somebody is garlanded, there's a brief introduction, right? And then there's a garlanding. So the introduction was happening on the top of the palace. The garlanding was happening down with Sarup Damodar and Govinda. Oh, this is Murari Gupta. This is Haridas Thakur, the deliverer of the whole universe. These are the Ghosh brothers, Govinda Ghosh, Madhav Ghosh, Vasudev Ghosh. Their kirtan and singing and dancing is famous all over the world, and the Lord is so happy. And this is the great Raghav Pandit. And so many, on and Shuklambar Brahmachari, here is Sridhar Kholavech. Then there were other devotees, some of whom were residents of Kulinagram, especially devotees like Satyaraj Khan, Ramananda. This is not Ramananda Rai, this is another devotee, Ramananda. Then there is Mukunda Das, Raghunandan, Chiranjeev, Sulochan. How many devotees are there? How many should I tell you, O King? All these devotees, they are so devoted to Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya is their life and soul. And the king was so amazed. He said, when I'm looking at these devotees, I have never seen such effulgent personalities ever in my life. In fact, the combined effulgence of all these devotees, these 200 odd devotees, is like the brilliance of a million suns. And just see how sweetly and melodiously they are singing the holy names. I have never heard such melodious kirtan being sung with such pure devotion. This is Prema Sankirtan. I have never seen this kind of Prema Sankirtan. So Saram Bhattacharya said, yes, this is the Prema Sankirtan. Lord Chaitanya actually has come to this world to distribute Krishna Prem through Prema Sankirtan, lovingly chanting Krishna's names congregationally. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And anybody who follows these instructions of Lord Chaitanya, especially in this age of Kali, should be considered very intelligent. And then he quotes a verse from the Bhagavad. The famous verse. Anybody knows the famous verse? Krishna Varnam Tusha Akrishnam Sangopangasta Parshadam Yadnei Sankirtanai Prayai Yajanti Sumedasaha. That in the age of Kali, those who are intelligent worship the Supreme Lord, comes in Kali Yuga in a golden form and propounds the chanting of the holy name through Sankirtan. So, incarnation of Lord Chaitanya is predicted in Srimad Bhagavad in this verse. And all of you have been deemed intelligent as per the Bhagavad. All of you are participating in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. And the king was so amazed. He was so excited. He says, actually, whatever you are saying is true. And based on what you are saying, I can understand that this Lord Chaitanya, whom I am so attracted to, he is directly the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. Because this kind of a transformation and this kind of a distribution of Krishna Prem, nobody else can do. And then the king asked a very interesting question. Gopinath Acharya and Sarvabhauma. This is all happening, this conversation happening on the top of the king's terrace as all these devotees are being honored down, a little distance away, and they are watching this. And he asks a very interesting questions. He says, actually, it is so clear to me, based on the evidence of scriptures and by my experience also, that this is Krishna. This Sri Krishna Chaitanya, this sannyasi is none other than Krishna himself. Why so many learned people who are there are unable to identify him and understand that he is the Supreme Lord? So this kind of question we all also get, right? Yeah. When I first read about Lord Chaitanya, I could relatively very easily understand and accept Lord Chaitanya, but I was wondering, how come nobody else knows? There are so many saints, yogis, religious leaders, huh, who may consider Lord Chaitanya as a saint. They don't understand him to be Krishna himself. So the answer to that question is here. What is the answer? So Sarvam Bhattacharya explains to the king. A person, only a person who has received even a fraction of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand that he is Krishna. Nobody else can. It doesn't matter how learned a person is, how thorough he is with the scriptures, how advanced he is in his austerities, learning, yoga, etc. Unless Lord Chaitanya allows him to understand, because Lord Chaitanya is a hidden incarnation, please mind this. Only those whom the Lord favors, he reveals and allows them to have faith in his identity as the Supreme Personality of God. And then he quotes a verse from the Bhagavad where Lord Brahma says that, oh my Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of your mercy, then he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who just try to speculate based on their own mind and intelligence, even if they continue to study scriptures, the Vedas for many, many years and lifetimes, they will be unable. So, this is the point. The point is ultimately one can understand the secrets of the Lord only when the Lord, out of his mercy, allows us to understand. This is a very, very important thing. This is very important. And this is a very deep and profound principle, which many spiritualists fail to appreciate, and that is why they do not receive that blessing to understand the deepest secrets of spiritual life. I'll tell a small thing about my own experience. Of course, my own experience is small. I'm just sharing because it is something which is something I've gone through. So that's something I can talk with confidence. So when I started on my own journey to spirituality, I was reading so many books. I thought spirituality will be very simple and straightforward. I never had any idea that there are so many philosophies, so many teachers teaching so many different things, different beliefs, apparently even beliefs which are apparently contradictory. Even though at a higher level, when one matures, one can actually put everything in place. But initially, it is very confusing. And I was very confused. I read quite a few things. I don't want to go into what I read, but I read all kinds of philosophies, including Mayavad, demigod worship. But I was somehow most attracted to Lord Chaitanya. and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. But then I would always feel, why nobody else is saying this? Why nobody else is saying this? Is this a teaching of one organization or one guru? So I remained confused for a long time. And then after many years, and this confusion was through my teens. My confusion began when I was around 9, 10 years old. And it went in through my teens. And around the time when I was 17, I was trying very hard, find the right philosophy, find the right conclusion. And I figured that, I'm only getting confused. I figured out that I'm unable to reach the right conclusion by using my own intelligence. So that time, out of frustration and helplessness, I prayed the Supreme Lord. Not as Krishna, because I don't know whether Krishna is that Supreme. I just prayed to say that I am so confused and bewildered. I want to know you in your highest aspect. What is the highest philosophy? I am unable to figure out. So I'm requesting you, whoever you are, person, not person, ABC, XYZ, I have no clue. But I was confident that that Supreme Truth can hear me, whoever or whatever it is. Please guide me. What is the topmost? And if you guide me to the topmost, I promise you that I will uh, you know, uh, follow that highest understanding to the best of my ability. So that was my very sincere prayer. And it was very amazing that very soon after that, now it's a long story, in which myself and Amit were involved. So I don't want to make this a class of my story, so I'll not go into those details. But we soon came into connection with devotees, and very soon after that, I don't remember how many days it was, but it was very soon. And and immediately in my heart, when I got connected, it immediately became very clear to me that this is the topmost understanding. So Krishna helped me. So I mean, I'm reflecting on this very verse that I couldn't have understood unless I had received that mercy. And I received that mercy because I begged for it. Was I qualified? No. Was I doing something great? Did I have great knowledge, great austerity? No. But the Lord is so kind. And I read one verse in the scriptures. I think it's from the Bhagavad or somewhere else, many years later, which said, which that verse, when I read, I was so shocked because that verse was exactly the translation of the verse was exactly the prayer I had spoken to the Lord. Was exactly the translation was when I read the translation, I remembered exactly what I had prayed. And the end of that prayer says, whoever prays like this, immediately the Lord arranges for him to come in contact with the bona fide spiritual master. There's a verse in the scriptures. So, so it's so amazing that in our own journeys we require so much. We sometimes think, we are very smart, we are great, we'll figure it out, this, that. But the truth is, we are actually at every step so dependent on the mercy, especially if we want the highest attainments of the Lord. So this is essentially what this explanation which Sarvam Bhattacharya and Gopinath Acharya give, that you have understood, which means you have received the mercy. Others are others are not understood. They may be spiritualists in their own right, in their own way. They may be progressing, but to understand and appreciate Lord Chaitanya as Krishna is a special benediction. So that was a very wonderful thing. I also wanted to share one more thing, also from my personal experience, but not so much philosophical. that this particular pastime, which I just described, is actually etched very deeply into my own heart because uh, we had the good fortune of practically playing this pastime out in real life. So you may be wondering how. So it so happened that when I went to Jagannath Puri, 1998, I think it was. It was 26 years ago. That was my first visit. So Radhanath Maharaj took us. I don't know how many of us were there, probably 400, 500. Not that many. So Radhanath Maharaj is a very, he's so attached to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's past. In fact, whatever I've learned and whatever I'm sharing is what I've heard from him. He likes to follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. So when we all came to Jagannath Puri, Radhanath Maharaj, in a similar manner of how Lord Chaitanya had arranged, he arranged to receive the few hundred devotees who had come at the entrance of Jagannath Puri in the same way that Lord Chaitanya arranged to Swarup Damodar and Govinda to receive the 200 devotees. And something more interesting, coincidentally, the people along with Radhanath Maharaj who were, each devotee was garlanded personally by Radhanath Maharaj. Chandan was placed, Prasadam of Jagannath was given. Around the same place where Lord Chaitanya's associates performed this pastime. You could see Jagannath's temple, we were all there. And this was very unexpected, and this was not like, very pre-planned. We were also all very surprised. We got down from the buses and we were there, and we were also not, we were wondering why did we get down here and why are we waiting for so somehow Maharaj had the desire to do this, honor and welcome all the devotees in the spirit that Lord Chaitanya welcomed his associates who came to Jagannath Puri. So Maharaj was also assisted by Govinda and Swarup Damodar. Govinda is Maharaj's personal servant, Swarup Damodar is Maharaj's personal secretary at that time. So it was uh, a very wonderful experience. So when we, so these kind of experiences give us a feel of how those environments, was there, what is the culture, and what is the kind of appreciation that the Lord has for each and every devotee. In fact, the organizers were telling us that, when Maharaj came up with this idea, they strongly protested. The Yatra organizer said, Maharaj, how is it practical? 400 devotees, how to garland each one, do this. But Maharaj was very, very insistent that he wanted to do it like that. And, thanks to that experience, that experience is still, etched in my heart. So, so it was very wonderful. And it's so nice. So these loving exchanges between the devotees are, the sum and substance of Vaishnava behavior. So we'll continue on the pastime. So all these devotees were received in this very wonderful way. And then the king suddenly observed that all the devotees, instead of going to Jagannath's temple, because generally the tradition is as soon as you come in, head towards Jagannath temple and take darshan first. Instead of going to the Jagannath temple, they're all going towards the residence of Lord Chaitanya. So you say, oh, why are they doing like this? Sarvam Bhattacharya said, yeah, that is the spontaneous love. Of course, Lord Chaitanya is not different from Jagannath. That is one. But they have so much love for Lord Chaitanya. The attachment is more for Lord Chaitanya. So they're so anxious. So he explained to them that they will go and first meet Lord Chaitanya. They will want Lord Chaitanya to take them Jagannath's temple. So that is what their heart. So The king also said that, yeah, I know that Bhavanand Rai, along with his son, not Bhavanand Rai, but the son of Bhavanand Rai, Vaninath. If you remember, Vaninath was the one who was serving Lord Chaitanya. huh? Along with a few other devotees, they have also brought a lot, they have arranged for a lot of Mahaprasad of Lord Jagannath. And all that Mahaprasad has been taken to the residence of Lord Chaitanya, so that when all these devotees come there, they can be given Lord Jagannath's Mahaprasad. So the king asked, I have found out that something like this has been done, but this is also a bit odd. So I have this doubt, O Sarvam Bhattacharya. Usually the system is when one goes to the Holy Dham, the system is one first takes bath, performs austerities, shaves his head, huh, then goes and takes darshan, and then only he will eat prasad. But here the devotees, they are just rushing to meet Lord Chaitanya. And as I understand, as soon as they go there, they'll take Jagannath's prasad. So isn't this a bit not in order in terms of what the standards of regulative principles are, such as fasting, shaving, and so on? So Bhattacharya told the king, oh, king, yes, I mean, all these regulative principles are there for visiting the holy place. You must understand, these devotees are not the devotees of the Vidhi Marg. They are Raga Marga devotees. They are Ragatmika Bhaktas. They are devotees on the platform of spontaneous love. They are above and beyond all these rules and regulations. Please understand. Normally, yes, one would follow, but in this case, if Lord Chaitanya, who's the Lord himself, is directly instructing them, come and take prasad, which foolish person will say, no, first I have to go and do this and do that and do that? Isn't that a bit odd? One is directly instructed by the Lord, take Jagannath's prasad. And then Sarvam Bhattacharya gives an example of his own experience. He says, when I was at my home one day, I just woke up from my sleep and Lord Chaitanya came to meet me and he gave me Jagannath's prasad. Even though I am the head priest of Jagannath and of the kingdom, immediately, even without brushing my teeth, I accepted the Mahaprasad. If Krishna is giving directly Mahaprasad, if one is directly being instructed by the Lord to honor it, then you cannot be quoting rules and regulations to the Lord. So Krishna is inspiring within the heart. And accordingly, a person who's advanced in consciousness is able to understand what is the Lord's desire and inspired by the Lord within the heart. He doesn't care about all these social conventions because the topmost principle is please the Lord. If rules and regulations don't please the Lord, what is the use? Aradito yadi hari tapasa tatakim na aradito yadi hari tapasa tatakim. This is a very beautiful verse, and we will not go to that now. So, like that, a very beautiful conversation, which was both informative and also enlightening in terms of the nuances, both of Vaishnav culture and of the higher principles of devotional service. So then after all this happened, the devotees had already gone to meet Lord Chaitanya. Prataprudra came down from his palace. He came to, from the top of his terrace, he came back down. And then he called for Kashi Mishra. Kashi Mishra is the person at whose home Lord Chaitanya was staying. And he also called the inspector of the temple. He called both of them and he said that, these 200 devotees have come. Kashi Mishra, right now they've gone to your house. So obviously they cannot stay in your house. Lord Chaitanya and a few other devotees are staying. So make sure that nice accommodation is arranged for all these 200 devotees with proper comforts and convenience for their eating, bathing, everything. They should get nice prasad, Mahaprasad, everything every day and nice accommodation. There should not be any difficulty for them. Whatever is the desire of Lord Chaitanya must be executed perfectly. And maybe the Lord may not have directly told me, but I know what will be pleasing to the Lord, what is his desire. So we should just understand by his indications what is his desire. So saying like that, the Lord asked them to go, and along with Lord Chaitanya, along with Kashi Mishra, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya also left, and they all went uh, to meet Lord Chaitanya, where all the devotees gathered around Lord Chaitanya in the house of Kashi Mishra. So I'm going to pause here. It's a very interesting, sweet pastime. So we are pausing at verse 125, where the devotees progress towards the house of Kashi Mishra. Okay, so I'm opening up the floor. Thank you for patiently hearing. Uh, yeah, if anybody has any questions or comments, welcome.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
Hari.
Yes,
One
Pravah.
general question. The subtle element, mind, intelligence, false ego, where exactly, which part of body is it coming from? Is it from heart?
All over. All over. The heart is the seat of emotions. The
Okay.
Atma is situated in the heart, but the influence of the subtle aspect of the body is pretty much all over the body. But the soul is, if you say the localized soul, the Atma is situated in the region of the heart. It is floating in the pranas.
So, Prabhu, when it says that he is intelligent, that comes from the brain or what? I'm just asking. So people say it's intelligent, right?
Yeah, so intelligence is a subtle quality. Yeah, it's not just the gross brain. The gross brain may have to do partly with it. Yeah. But ultimately, intelligence is an aspect of cognition, and cognition is not simply an aspect of matter alone. So that's why it's very hard, because intelligence is abstract. Nobody can point and say this is intelligence, right? Yeah. So that's a bit hard, but yes. See, when the living entity leaves the body along with the subtle body, his brain is still left behind. Does it mean he loses all his intelligence? No, right? The soul continues to have cognitive capabilities even beyond. So obviously, the intelligence is not associated with the brain itself. But does the body also contribute when the soul is in the body to how much intelligence can be manifested? Probably yes. Much in the same way that when we are sitting in a car, we are, how fast the car can go depends on how fast we can drive, depends on the car, isn't it? Huh? So we are
Yeah.
also limited by the car in which we are sitting in various ways. That's why we say
Yeah.
we are seated in the body made of the three modes. We are seated in a machine made of the three modes. The body is compared to a machine made of the three modes. So the machine also influences our mind, influences and affects our capabilities to think. Right. So body and mind both influence each other. That is the
Yeah. Yeah.
it. Essentially, the consciousness has faculties of thinking, of discrimination.
Okay.
Thinking aspect, accepting, rejecting are aspects of are known, are known as thinking or manas. The discriminatory aspect is known as buddhi.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can think of these as faculties, and in that sense, they are classified as energies. uh, But you cannot just, you know, cannot just isolate and says here is the intelligence.
Got it. Yeah, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Haribo. Anybody else? Okay. So thank you very much. So we will continue with Srimad Bhagavatam, the wonderful story of Vritrasur the next week, and we you are finding our discussions enthusing and encouraging. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are actually very sweet. I'm not uh, able to narrate it the same sweet way, in the same articulate way like some devotees do. But anyways, nonetheless, I'm just doing this for my own purification. So thank you for also listening in. One should scrutinizingly study the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. It becomes so much easy to approach Lord Krishna when we approach Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya has appeared, Gauranga, Nityananda, the Panchatattva have appeared in Kali Yuga to make Krishna and Radha, who are normally absolutely inaccessible, make them accessible even to the most common people. And like what I said, I would always think if it is so difficult to understand the Lord, how am I going to understand? So that's also true. One of the questions I would ask myself is so many big saints, big scholars, gurus, leaders of organizations, they do not understand this, but I am understanding this. So it used to confuse me. I know I'm not so qualified, not so. But the point is, yes, we may not be qualified in terms of our austerity, knowledge, and various other aspects with so many others. But who actually becomes the recipient of the Lord's mercy? The recipient of the Lord's mercy is he who either begs with a genuine heart in front of the Lord, then the Lord cannot say no. That's the nature of the Lord. One takes, if humbly a person goes as a beggar, and that was my own experience. And also, if one receives causelessly the favor of the Lord's devotees, then also one can achieve that favor. So, even though we may have so many other disqualifications, somehow if we are fortunate to be humble enough to accept or beg, if not beg, sometimes some of us may not even be self-impelled to beg, but at least when we are in the association of great souls who are willing to give, at least we are humble enough to accept, then we become fortunate. Because actually nobody can become qualified enough to receive the mercy of the Lord. That is the truth. And that is why even big, great yogis may not achieve that blessing, which even an ordinary man in a city, man or woman like us, may receive. So this whole uh, idea of how and who and how an individual may receive Krishna's blessings and mercy is itself a great mystery. It's very difficult to understand. And that is why it is best also not to judge. Because sometimes we, by our own calculations, try to assess and judge who is how great. But the way Krishna may look at someone may be very different from the way we may assess another individual. Okay, so thank you very much. If there's nothing else, we'll conclude. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada.
Jai.
Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna and thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Puja
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Prabhu, thank
Neha ji.
you.
Yes. Nice. All those who are showing your faces, thank you so much for taking that extra effort. Sridevi Mataji, Sapna ji, Suraj, Shalini Mataji, Saralakshmi Mataji, Sneha ji. It's always nice. And I can see faces, I can connect better. Thank you so much. So I will see you all on next Saturday. We'll continue our discussion on the Bhagavad. Thank you.
Thank
Also,
you.
those in the chat who have sent messages, yes, Renuka Mataji, Vinod Prabhu, Sachi Prema Mataji, Anand Sundari Mataji. There is a Lenovo Tab E8. I don't know who it is, but thank you. Lenovo Tab.